Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to talk about why didn't I get an interview? So basically, why I'm not able to getting shortlisted for the interview calls. You might have seen like you're applying for hundreds of jobs, but you hardly getting call back from one or two or maybe five recruiters, right? So this should not be the ratio. Basically, if you're applying for 100 jobs, at least you should expect to get call back from 25 to 30 calls, right? Basically, 30% ratio should be there. If you're getting less than 30%, then that means something is wrong with the presentation of yourself, basically, which is your resume, right? So that means you're not able to present yourself correctly in front of recruiter, or there could be many other factors as well. So this is what we're going to talk about. Majorly, people just talk about cracking the interviews and doing so many things while they're doing the interview, follow the this, but nobody talk about how to get shortlisted, basically. So this is a very important topic, and we're going to cover so many things. So we have our guest today, Rohan. Rohan is basically the managing director of Refer Skilled, and Refer Skilled consultancy is basically works in the field of recruitments, HR, and they also provide trainings. We'll talk about the Refer Skills at the end of the video. So yeah, Rohan, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Amir, for having me with on your channel. And I'm very excited to share certain nuggets and experiences that I have learned over the course of my career of over a decade.
Mhm.
And since I have also worked in the field of recruitment and I've helped many candidates land jobs and interviews in multiple big four and Fang Mang companies. So we'll talk about CVs and how to prepare CV, how to present yourself, how to brand yourself for getting maximum conversion in your job application. So let's get started. We have a PPT shared with you, and it will help candidates note down important points. So I am sharing it on the screen, and candidates can note down important points from it. So why didn't I get an interview? Very important question, and it also shows that not just the freshers, but
Mhm.
even experienced and early career professionals face a lot of struggle converting their application into interview call. So the first and foremost, the most important critical aspect are related to the CV, because CV is the most important thing which allows you to present yourself in a single page, and recruiter sees through the CV the whole persona of yours, the whole experience and skills that you possess through the CV itself. So CV should not be undermined. It's the most important key to cracking any interview.
Correct,
All right,
correct.
so let's go ahead and share the first important factor, which is your knowledge and skills. If you do not have requisite knowledge and skill set, you are likely getting rejected from the interview itself, because usually what happens is that candidates do not go through the JD itself, and it is very critical that each and every candidate, when they are applying for a job, you do not need to apply for 50 jobs in a single day. Apply for just 5 jobs, but apply them after going through
Mhm.
the JD rigorously, sincerely, and doing your research based on the JD itself. Do not overlook the CV. Just some people, what they do is just simply go through the first paragraph and they apply for the job right away from the same CV, which is a sure short way of getting rejected on the very first step. So
Totally
go
agree.
through the JD very, very sincere, so that you know that your knowledge and skills align with the job description given for the particular role. So that's very
Definitely.
important advice there.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, Ron, absolutely. It is a very important thing actually, which people easily neglect. Like they just read
Yes.
about it, the two or three lines, or maybe just the title of the job. Like, for example, the backend developer job, and they think they are a backend developer. They just applied for it. They don't even look
Yeah.
for the skills that they are looking for, because backend developer is not a skill. It's a job role actually, and a backend developer can have multiple jobs inside. So, for example, a backend developer, when you talk about backend developer, Java developer is a backend developer, Python developer is a backend developer, .NET developer, PHP developer, they all are backend developer, right? So it is not necessarily that they are looking for Java developer. They might be looking for Python developer. They might be looking for PHP developer, right? So if you're a Java developer and you're applying for a job which is looking for Python developer or PHP developer, why they will shortlist you, right? That's why it
Correct.
it becomes very important to read thoroughly the JD. Every single line I will recommend to read, go through the JD, then understand the
Absolutely.
requirement properly, and then only apply for it. So
Absolutely.
thanks. Yeah, that's
100%.
that's a very important
100%.
thing. Yeah, yeah. Over to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the critical advice that I have. for all the candidates that do not undermine the JD of the job. Second, very important criteria is ascertaining the credentials, whether you have the right credentials or not. Because what happens is when there is a job posting, they have certain, certifications or certain degree requirement for that particular role. Maybe a job requires an MTech or an MCA, or maybe it requires an MBA for that particular position. It's a managerial position, or maybe it's a team lead role, or early career professional, but it requires an experience of 5 years. They specify that you should have MBA or MCA or MTech. You should not overlook it. If you do not have that credential, make sure that you have something else to compensate that particular credential. If you do not have an equivalent qualification, you should not be thinking that you will get selected just like that. Usually recruiters see through these things very carefully. So make sure that you match the not just the skill set but also the credentials. If it is requiring a graduate degree, you should have a graduate degree, then only you should apply for it. Otherwise there
Correct,
are
correct.
high chances of getting rejected. So credentials are also very important factor when it comes to selecting the candidate. So make sure that you have the right credentials which are required in the job description itself. And
Yeah,
then it goes back to the same first point, going through the JD, very important, because in the JD you will find what are the educational criteria, the credentials which are required for the job. So make sure that
exactly.
you have the right for the job.
Yeah, Rohan, I mean, if we just read the JD properly, then I think half of the problem will be solved automatically.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Amir,
Yeah.
it's the most important point, which I think mostly what happens is that candidates are so, either they are in stress or they are in a hurry. So they look
Mhm.
for the job, they click apply now, and then
Yeah.
they directly go to the application page, which I
Yes,
think
yes.
it's not a very wise thing. You should not target to apply for 20 jobs every day.
Mhm.
Rather apply for just 5 jobs, but give them
Makes
proper
sense.
time and
Mhm.
customize everything, the whole step. Read through the
Mm.
JD. That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
important, I think.
We'll talk
Yeah.
about that also. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct, correct. Yeah,
So
even I used to do this actually. When I was a fresher with
yes.
maybe just 1, 2 years experience, I used to do the same thing. I used to apply 50, 60 job a day actually.
Yeah.
Naukri.com, just search for the skill and just click on apply, 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 apply. I really don't,
Yeah.
I really did not care at the time like what they're looking for actually. And then
Yeah.
I used to feel like, okay, why I'm not getting callbacks? And I used to doubt on myself actually, my skills actually. Maybe
Yes.
my profile is not that much credible or basically not able to get attention, maybe they're not looking for my type of people. So I used to get demotivated a lot, and this
It
is the common
happens.
problem with every single person, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Even
It
Rohan, if
happens.
you remember, I when we used to take interview for reference guild, I just wanted to mention
Yeah.
like I basically helped Rohan in hiring the technical team of
Technical
in which is
team of
working
the,
in
yeah.
reference guild. So yeah, that
Yes.
time also I get to notice this thing because first time I get the
Yeah.
point of view from the company's
Recruiter side. Yeah.
recruiter side actually. Because I
Yeah.
get to view that phase actually, and then I get to know, okay, how what silly mistakes people are making actually, very small mistakes. And
Yes.
yeah, we'll talk about every single thing here. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, talk.
I have decided to cover even the smallest of the things which candidates make, which lead to the rejection. So I have
Yeah.
quite a loaded PPT here. So please hold on, guys, till the end of the video. You are
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
learn a
definitely.
lot. Yeah.
It's a pure
So
gold, right?
yes, absolutely. And here is the
Yeah.
third very important
Mhm.
criteria of which leads to rejection often. So candidate see the JD and they see that it requires 2 to 5 years of experience, and even they have just 6 months or 1 year of experience. They just apply for it, hoping that they might get selected for the job. But usually the things do not work in that way. So when there is a opening in a company, it is usually basis the hierarchy. So if the
Mhm.
position is for senior analyst or senior associate, there are high chances that a very fresher like of experience of between 0 to 2 years are not going to get selected, because senior roles require the experience of more than 4 or 5 years of industry experience. So make sure that the experience threshold which is mentioned in the JD, you are somewhere near that experience duration. So if it is
Mhm.
mentioning 3 to 5 years, you should have 3 years of at least the experience. You should have 3 years, 3.5 years of experience, so that you are in the ideal range of the recruiter which he is looking. So you are in the range of 3 to 5. So making sure that you are not lacking the requisite number of years of experience is very important. So I highly recommend that if you do not fulfill the experience criteria,
Mhm.
rather look for the options where you do fulfill the criteria, because there are high chances of you getting selected.
Mm.
And if you are applying for jobs where you do not have enough number of experience, there are high likelihood of you getting rejected for the interview, because then the company will prefer other
Yeah.
candidates who have the requisite qualification and
Yeah,
so that is
Rohan,
very important.
sorry to interrupt, but I have a question here. The
Yes.
question is like sometimes, if you notice, like the companies are looking for, let's suppose, for 4 years of experience person, right? I talk about technical terms because I am technical person. So here I have noticed, like sometimes you will see the 4 years person is having lesser knowledge than the person who is having 2 years experience, right? A 2 years
Yes, it
person is
happens.
having knowledge which is more than 5 years persons have sometimes, or maybe they think like that way, or maybe they are actually more knowledgeable than 4 year person, so they just go and apply for it. But the thing is like how can basically we counter this problem or something like, because obviously from job description point of view, like 4 year experience they're looking for, but is
Yes.
there any way we can enhance the resume in such a way so even if the person is having 2 years experience, they will get shortlisted for 4 year experience job, right?
Yes, I think it's a very important point that you have raised, and well, it's a kind of bad signal for the candidate that sometimes they barely get rejected only on the basis of not having enough number of experience, although they are more talented than the people who are senior in terms of a number of years of experience. So in such scenarios, I think candidates should have excellent communication through their CV. They should
Mm-hmm.
highlight the number of projects they have worked, the
Makes
number of
sense.
uh, projects they have completed, and the quantification of that achievement. Like they should show
Mm-hmm.
that they help certain number of clients raise certain millions of dollars worth of projects.
Numbers.
So they should quantify their achievements in the
Mm-hmm.
CV. And in that scenario, if they are able to communicate that aspect very, very well, if
Mm-hmm.
they are able to convince that they have worked more number of projects, they are, able to quantify that experience,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it will lead to them getting a call from the recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
because they will be able to see that even though
Absolutely.
he has less number of years of experience, he has more projects in his kitty, and he has
Mm-hmm.
worked far more than the experienced guy. So it is
Mm-hmm.
highly probable that he will get the
Mm-hmm.
option to.
Again, it is
Yeah.
all up to your profile actually. That's why I told you this video is very important, right? So yeah. So mention those numbers, okay, what you have done. For example, in technical terms, if you work for a particular project, you enhance the performance of the application. So you should just mention it, okay. After basically after the delivery of the project, it enhanced the performance of the application by 40%. 40% is a number, it's a huge number, right? Which will convert into clients, more profit to the company, right? So similar to, you can say, okay, optimize the code basically. So earlier it was like 500 KB in the size, but now it is just 100 KB or maybe 150 KB, which these numbers are going to showcase your work actually. So numbers are
Absolutely.
very important. So that's how you can basically beat that thing like 4 year experience, 5 year experience, because they will just see the work that you have done, right?
Absolutely, Amir.
Yeah.
I totally
Hmm.
agree with you, and you gave the right example for what I was trying to convey to the candidate. So it's
I have
very
taken.
important to quantify that achievement that you have made throughout the projects that you have done in your career. So
Mhm.
very.
Yeah.
All right. So shall we move to the next slide?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
All right. The next important point is you didn't sell your credential. It's a
Mm.
very important point. You didn't sell basically means that you did not mention the things that you learned during that particular course or during that particular certification. During that particular certification, if you did any project, you did not mention that project. So you're not able to sell that credential. What
Mm.
candidates need to learn is that when you are applying for a job, you are not just applying to sell your services, you're also applying to sell your persona, your personality, your
Mm.
knowledge base. So if you have done a particular course which you think are very, very few people who have done that course, then you should highlight that course, you should highlight that course
Mhm.
module, or you should highlight that project. It means that you are conveying to the recruiter that there are very few candidates in the market who possess this skill, who possess this experience. So
Mm.
you should consider hiring me over other candidates. So it's very important that you highlight certain unique certifications,
Mhm.
degrees that you have gained over the course of your
Mhm.
education or your professional career. So
I want to mention one thing here. So it is
yeah,
all about like जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, in short, right?
absolutely,
For example, I'll give you a
absolutely.
better example. I just got it in my mind. For example, you're mentioning that you're a quick learner, but how someone will get to know that you're a quick learner? So by just mentioning quick learner thing, right? Nobody's going to basically buy it, right? So you need to sell yourself. So, for example, you recently got a project which was not on your tech stack. As a front end developer, you're working on a React project, okay? And suddenly there is another requirement came up, like I need to basically convert this application to Angular, or just opposite, okay? But you are just an Angular developer, or maybe you are a React developer, right? How you will do that job, right? So now the quick learner thing came up in the picture actually. Within a week, you learn the new framework and you basically apply your knowledge into that project and convert it and you deliver it on time. So now
Absolutely.
this is a correct story. If you mention it in your resume, definitely prove your theory that you are a quick learner. Basically,
Yes.
that's how you can sell it better, right? Not just by mentioning it, you are a quick learner, nobody's going to believe it.
Yes.
So
And the way to do it is that instead of mentioning just the skills, mention how you showcase that skill.
exactly,
Mention
exactly.
certain incidents, mention certain achievements, mention
Mhm,
certain projects. So that's a
mhm.
very important point. Thank you, Amir, for adding that up. Moving on, it's also important that you showcase your accomplishments. It's an add-on to the previous slide that you showcase your accomplishments. If you have had experience leading a team, or if you have had experience in organizing a certain project and delivering it within your a particular time frame, then you must showcase it in your CV, because it's very important to showcase your achievement in the CV, so that the recruiter knows that you are able to accomplish these many things over the course of your career, and he will be able to make a better judgment whether to accept or reject your application. So it's a very important criteria to showcase all your accomplishments, whether it is academic or whether it is a professional achievement accomplishment. Do mention that you did these things in this particular time, you delivered this, or you achieved this, you led a team, you performed this, or you delivered a certain project within time. So these accomplishments, work as a convincing persuasion points for the recruiter, and he will think twice before reject. The next important point is following the directions mentioned on the job description. So usually different companies have different steps to apply for the job role, and you must have faced certain scenarios where certain companies ask you to fill the details, then upload this. Certain companies just ask for the CV, certain companies do not ask for the CV but the details only, and some other ask for the CV and cover letter and the details. So various companies have different ways of seeking the requirement. So it's very important. So some candidates do not follow it, they skip the steps, they directly go to the final step, they tick the I accept the acknowledgement terms and conditions, and then they submit the CV, which I think it's not the optimum way of submitting, because certain recruiters want to know certain details about you and you better furnish them. Otherwise, if you are applying for a job half-heartedly, then the recruiter will have the impression that this guy is not serious about the
And
job.
serious about.
So it's follow the directions of the company's hiring process and respect the hiring process, because there are certain ways through which company decides to select the
Mhm.
candidate. So do not overlook the process. I highly recommend going through the
Yeah.
process step by step
Mhm,
and finalizing the submission process.
mhm.
Yes, it's about seriousness, diligence, and sincerity of the candidate.
Exactly.
So
Mhm,
it shows that he has completed this whole complex, lengthy process. So he
mhm,
must be a serious candidate and also in need of a job change or in need of a job. So it
mhm,
gives a assurance kind of thing to the, it gives an assurance to the employer that this is a
mhm.
serious candidate. So better, look for him rather than
Exactly.
those non-serious candidates. So it's a
Yeah.
very important aspect. So I think there are other also very important aspects which
Mhm,
candidates do and leads to rejection. And these are making very sloppy mistakes on your resume, like spelling errors, font errors, formatting errors, mentioning certain things in a very haphazard manner, not having a chronological order of the thing. These things show in your resume very badly. So I highly recommend you spend a certain good amount of time on your resume. Make a proper, dedicated effort. Do not make grammatical, font based formatting errors or any other color mismatch or bullet mismatch error. These things, if you make these kind of mistakes, it gives a very bad impression that this
yeah.
is a very, you know immature CV, immature resume. So
Mhm,
it leads to HR getting very uninterested in your profile, and it might also lead to taking you very lightly and in a non-serious. So do not make these mistakes on your resume. These are small mistakes, but sometimes it also leads to rejection,
Yeah.
and
But
you should be very
mhm.
serious about.
Yeah, but Rohan, I have a question here. The question
Yeah.
is like, it is okay. Spelling mistakes, I get it. Okay, I'll correct the grammatical mistakes that I made. But people usually don't know what is right actually, what they should keep into the resume, what they should not keep into the resume, and that is also a mistake, right? If you are going to make your resume very lengthy or something, or maybe I saw the PPT. I mean, those topics are already covered in future points. But just wanted to mention like the mistakes can be any type of mistake. It is not just a grammatical error. So
Yes.
resumes are very much kind of you need to
Yes.
you present
Absolutely.
yourself in a very short description. Maybe you don't get enough space actually. For example, you cannot write your entire bio data, right? Your entire life into just a one sheet of paper, right? You cannot put it everything together, right? So you should know what to keep it into that single sheet of paper, right?
Yes.
That can basically represent you in a best way. So if someone is just going to look into the profile, they should get know about every single thing about you that is
Yes.
required for this job, right? So
Absolutely.
that is very important.
So that is why it is very important to review your CV yourself. And if you think that you're not the right person to review it, take the
Hmm.
help of a senior or people who are expert CV writer. Like we have a team of CV writers at Refer Skilled who help candidates prepare better CVs.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
should
yeah.
take
Hmm.
help of experts and build your CV. It's not a bad thing of spending some 500,000 rupees on your CV, because it is going to give you a lot more in return than that investment. So always
Yeah,
have
definitely.
either a reviewer or a CV
Hmm.
professional CV writer have a writing a CV for you, so it will help you in landing a good return on invest. So highly recommend you make the effort in building great CV or resume, and do not make any sloppy mistakes on your resume. These things are unforgivable, to be honest.
And those are the
Yeah.
reason. That's why you're not getting calls back, right?
Yes.
That is the reason because you are not able to represent yourself properly. So here the refer skill comes in the picture, I believe. So
Alright guys, so yeah, I really appreciate that if you can mention your thoughts in the comment section about this tool. And yeah, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel because I always keep uploading this type of content. So thank you so much guys, thank you for watching this video. Have a good day, bye.